I'm joined here with my good friend John for part 2 of the Camaro metalwork series. In part 2, I thought I'd take an opportunity to teach you, viewers, along with my good friend here, how we're going to go about installing this passenger side quarter panel. Alright, so here we are on the quarter panel. I got it vice gripped on this side. What I'm going to do, it's a lot easier when you have 4 hands. I'm going to hold this bottom right here, kind of get the motion of the ocean right. And what my boy here is going to do is take this unbranded ink utensil and make a little line across the top. Oh yeah. Great technique. Don't forget to breathe.
God, we got four hands and 6 legs.
We're not going to cut on that line. That is amateur work.
We're actually going to cut the whole trunk off, right?
Do you want to learn how to be a hot rodder?
Yeah.
You will no longer question my methods.
Yes.
Alright, so the next thing we got to do is get some tape. Is run the tape directly along our line, but just a hair below it. When I say a hair, I mean like a hair below it. Not an 1/8 inch, but more than 0. So we're going to eyeball it. I'll show you what I mean here.
Seems like such a pristine measurement should be eyeballed, to be honest with you.
Why don't I say about questioning our methods?
Yes, sir. That's my fault.
Yeah. No.
I forgot that I'm not allowed to say anything.
There's a little gap we got there. We're gonna run that all the way down.
No sneezing on set, please.
Sorry.
If you have to sneeze, cut your larynx out.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're doing great. Dude, it's a snap-on. Oh, some electrical tape. What else is in there?
It's like Christmas morning.
What is this? Yeah. Oh, look at that one. Holy shnikes. Another one.
You drove this to Illinois.
Oh my. Those are good. There, oh my, another one. Somebody lose a whole set of wrenches.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
9mm.
9mm. 9mm. Little screwdriver, it just keeps coming, it gets better. Oh, wow. We found quite the collection down there and inside my quarter. We're gonna keep cutting away. I'm gonna take a different approach so I don't get covered in the schmutz. I've got schmutz in my mouth, I've got schmutz in my eyes, I've got schmutz in my armpits, and not the good kind. So now I'm gonna cut down here and maybe meet up with my lower schmutz cut. Ah, the schmutz.
A ruby.
So here's the deal. What you just saw was John and I pretty much tearing into here. We found a lot of goodies, pretty much a whole set of wrenches inside that quarter panel. And at first glance, the passenger side quarter panel did not look nearly as bad as the driver's side, but I'm really glad we tore into it. Got to look at what was going on in there because it's pretty rough. There's a lot of unseen rust on the different layers. What we're gonna get into today is putting in that trunk extension that goes down here behind the quarter panel. But before we do that, I need to make a piece that will weld in right here, fill in that gap, and give us a secure brace for that trunk extension to weld to. And the trunk extension will weld right there and come down. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and grind down all the welds, throw some fiberglass over it, look good, and pretty much do the same thing that you watched me do last week to the outer quarter panel, except on the passenger side. So the only thing that you didn't see last week that we're gonna be doing now is making some pieces, filling in right here, and getting into all that nitty gritty. Sprayed this area with some rust preventative because it had some major surface rust pitting going on. But once we take care of all that, it'll be ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that rolling. All right, so I just made this cardboard template that is intended to fill in this gap right here. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is transfer this template onto, I have a piece of scrap metal. This is not it. There it is. I'm gonna transfer it onto this old piece that I have from the driver's side trunk extension and make that piece to fill in that hole right there. Status report. Just finished putting this piece in the trunk. Now I have a filled in hole, which is awesome, and now I have a really sturdy flange that the trunk extension can go ahead and get welded to. Basically what I gotta do that you didn't see me do on the other side because I didn't film it, but I have to trim along that tape line on this trunk extension because this trunk extension is actually a little longer. So I'm pretty pleased with how that fits. I got holes punched along the flange of the back of this trunk extension and on the front so we can go ahead and spot weld it to this other flange that's on the trunk. Obviously I'm gonna take care of some business back here, trimming, and something that I did off camera on the other extension was make a piece to fill in right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well. That's just another thing I'm gonna have to do. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with how this fits and goes in there. Some of you may question my methods, to which I say, get out of here. Or, you know, tell me how you do it. I appreciate all criticism. I'm learning every day. Where am I going with this? Let me inform. Where I'm going with this is because I'm having to modify, adapt, and overcome, I need to do a little welding action. I gotta get that guy to touch that guy. You know what I'm saying? Get that guy. You gotta connect that to that. And I can't get that to stay on its own worth a kahootie. So I'm gonna introduce y'all to one of my favorite welding techniques. You're not gonna find it in any school books. It is called the old hold and poke. Now the hold and poke is a far lesser known technique, and that's because not a lot of people are skilled enough to pull it off. It's comprised of two vital steps, the hold and the poke. Now, contrary to what some people may tell you, the hold is more important than the poke. I'm gonna see if I can't execute a proper hold and poke, because when it is done correctly, it is quite lethal.
What are you doing, man?
Well, I just made this little piece here to fill in this hole in the back, so I can get all that filled in, and then that'll pretty much be the last step before putting on that outer quarter panel skin. But I'm about at that point in the day where you just, your brain starts melting and you start losing all sense of reality. So this might be the last thing that I do today before we get to that quarter panel patch. I do appreciate your company. Hey there friends, I've been up to no good since our last update. Let me take you over to the Camaro and show you what I mean. I believe where we left off, I had just made this little rhombus guy for, it's more of a parallelogram. Yeah, geometry. I just made this little guy to fill up this piece, this gap in between my trunk extension and the tail pan. And I finished welding it in, ground it all down. We've got some fiberglass filler right in the trunk where I made that little patch and filled it in. Now that my trunk extension is pretty much welded in where it's gonna live, it's time for the exciting bit, which is, of course, the quarter panel patch. Quarter panel patch isn't anything you haven't seen before, so I'm gonna get straight into the time lapse of mocking it up, trimming it where it needs to be trimmed, and tack welding it in place. I'll see you in Zoom Zone. My goodness, I don't believe it, but I almost forgot a crucial step. Now, I don't intend any prejudice with all this, but the problem with this here trunk extension is that it's still in its black EDP coating. The problem with the black EDP panels is that, yeah, it, preserves the metal fairly okay for quite some time, but if it's your permanent installment on the vehicle, it's definitely more wise to scuff the EDP up, prep it really quick with some wax and grease remover, and hit it with some urethane or self-etching primer to just seal the metal in really good so it's never gonna rust and never gonna give you any problems, ever. So I got some generic, totally non-branded, totally not covering up the brand name with my thumb self-etching primer here. And what we're gonna do is scuff up this panel with a Scotch-Brite, hit it with some wax and grease remover, and then hit it with some self-etching primer, totally non-branded, made it myself. Got my wax and grease remover here, gonna give you the old wipe down. I am totally ready to be spraying this with primer. 3, 2, 1, go. This is official Comoco primer cam. All right, let's open this garage door to let out some of these fumes. So I'm definitely not going to finish this video off the same way that I finished off last week's video, in the sense that I'm not gonna show me grinding down all the welds on this panel, and I'm not gonna show me putting fiberglass over it. And I'm really not even gonna show the end result of this panel by the end of the episode, but I did want to show something that I glazed over last episode, which is the process that I'm doing right now is actually mocking the panel up where it's gonna be welded in. And it's totally a lot easier with more hands, but because I'm alone, I'm having to use these magnets to hold that panel in place. And then I have these guys, which this actually goes in the gap, just like that. And there's a cube on the other side, or a rectangle that you put through, and as you tighten it down, it actually brings the two panels together. It brings it flush together as well as holds it tight in a spot so you can tack weld it in place. So that's what I'm doing right now. Figured I'd just show you guys that before I do my spot welds, because as I remember it, I believe I left this process out of last week's episode. So that's what's going on right now. Thanks. Thanks for staying around. I mentioned I had a little surprise for the end of the video. Well, I don't know if you can read, but yes, it's true. I've got some mini tubs for the Camaro from Detroit Speed. Really quick, would just like to clarify I am not sponsored or endorsed by Detroit Speed. However, Detroit Speed, if a representative is watching this video, I would not complain if there happened to be some sort of advertising or endorsement, paid or unpaid, from you. I've got mini tubs for my car. It's sweet, it's awesome. If you're not a car person, let me break it down for you really quick. This is a rear wheel tub. On my car, my rear wheel is partially in the cockpit. This is my rear wheel tub. If you look at it from the other side, it's that guy right there. So just imagine you got your rear wheel spinning in there. Basically, what the Detroit Speed mini tubs let me do is it lets me get rid of this tub and extend it 2.5 inches. If you're still not on the same page as me, let me break it down further. 2.5 inches. Yeah, it's not much, unless, well, you know what I mean. 2.5 inches makes a big difference. Giving us 2.5 inches on each side may not seem like a big deal. Combined, that's 5 inches of extra tire we can fit behind the car, width-wise. So a wider tire means more grip means more go. Better handling. There's just no reason not to have more grip. So that's the reasoning behind mini tubbing the Camaro. It is time for me to conclude this video. I'll make it quick. If you like what you saw, please let me know in the comments section. Leave a comment, constructive or deconstructive. Like, dislike, I prefer that you like the video, but if you don't like the video anyways. If you want to get caught up on content as soon as it comes out, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you want to see more content that isn't on YouTube, go check out my Instagram at ComoCo, 2 underscores, Como_Co. That's how it goes. Maybe I'll post a mini tub install video next week. Maybe I won't. It all depends on if I can get the mini tubs installed and that video edited by a week from posting this video. And get caught up on the work on the other side of the quarter panel. Man, this is hard. I gotta go get started editing this video, which I haven't started editing yet. Man, lots of work. I'm gonna drink a lot of coffee. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.